Hello and welcome to the Modern Romantic Podcast, where we celebrate and inspire romanticism through passionate people who do incredible things. Hi, I'm not quite a chocolate croissant, but also not quite a puff pastry. Hi, I'm Trey, and joining me as delightful as a creme brulee is my co-host Emily. Hi, Emily.
Hello. I'm going to steal a line from Garen Noon and say, "Hello, I'm delicious."
Well, hello, delicious.
Thank you.
I can't think of anything. How's your week been?
Pretty good. I've got a 10-inch tomato plant. I'm very excited about that. Yeah,
Yay!
it's like watching your child grow up, except plants.
Plants.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
gonna make a joke after that, but I realized in my head it was too dark to say out loud, so we're just gonna skip right over that.
That'll be for our Modern Romantic After Dark episodes
Yes, it
that we
was.
haven't created yet. So don't go looking for them. They don't exist yet. If you find something, it's not us.
But still, I'm very happy that you have a thriving tomato plant. That's incredible.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, I've one that's that big. The others are coming along. Yeah, just very excited about that. Yay, spring.
Yay, spring.
Hmm.
I do want to give a shout out to a performance that I went to over the weekend.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
so it's a theater I've never been to. It's the Rock Hill Theater. Um,
Oh,
I got to see some people that were in Murder on the Orient Express with me. They
Mardar.
Mardar. So they were in a performance of Death Trap, which is a thriller comedy. So there is murder, but there's also a lot of humor baked into the show, and it's intentional and it's a very meta commentary. I won't give anything like it's a meta commentary on itself. Like they talk about writing the show that we're all currently seeing while watching the show.
Oh, fun.
So it really gets very layered throughout the show. Really solid performances. It was in a very interesting performance venue. The whole courthouse in Rock Hill, like the old courthouse, was converted into a performance artist venue.
Oh,
So
cool.
the large courtroom was completely cleared out, and so it was converted into a makeshift space so you could have a multitude of different functions. They wound up staging it in that so that you could have a thrust stage with the audience sitting on either side of the stage as well as in front, so you got a different perspective depending on where you sat.
Okay.
But overall, killer, stellar performances, pun fully intended there. Really, really great performance. There's only one more weekend of it, so if you're listening and in the Charlotte area, please get your tickets to Death Trap at Rock Hill Theater.
Very cool. I like that you said that there was some humor in with the murder and that that was intentional. If it wasn't intentional, that would be interesting as well. Is it like an impromptu show? Like why was there humor in unintentional humor in with the murder?
Uh, I think there could be a multitude of reasons, but I'm glad that every bit of humor in that show is intentional, and that's what I'm happy about.
Yes. Me too. I love it.
Um,
That sounds like a cool experience.
it was. Before we get too much further into our guest today, we also want to take this time. It's been a while since we've shouted her out, but we want to give a major, major shout out to our producer and Jane of all trades, Sandra. So thank you so much for all that you do. You are an incredible human being. Thank you so much for being with us on the show and on this journey. So thank you, Sandra.
Yep. We love you.
We love you so much. And now, someone else that we are equally as excited about is our guest
Right?
tonight. Emily, would you do the honors and introduce our guest?
I would love to. Today we are joined by Heidi Suzanne, the artist behind Cupcake Garden by HS, which probably stands for Heidi Suzanne. She creates custom buttercream floral cupcakes that are like as beautiful as they are delicious. It is incredible how she can make her cupcakes look like real flowers. And she transforms simple ingredients into intricate designs inspired by reality, which you can tell. So, anyway, today we're very excited to welcome Heidi to the show. Welcome, Heidi.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me. I think it's
I
Yeah.
think so too. And your wallpaper right now is just as happy and fun as your creations.
Yeah, that's the only time I've ever wallpapered, and it came out pretty good. I think a pattern is good because it's see where the joins are.
Oh yeah. I did that once. I did like it's that painting you do where you can like scrunch up plastic wrap and then you can smash it on the wall and it creates kind of a marbly effect. I did that on a wall for the very same reason. Like I wanted to hide all the blemishes. It was a very old wall. So I get it. It's beautiful though. You have a beautiful wall and very cool. How did you get started in like what was your first did you start with cupcakes or have you tell us about your origin?
No, I've been cooking and baking since I was a little kid, and like most people, I was concerned about what things tasted like. I really wasn't concerned with the looks. I mean, you do a birthday cake for your kids, and you try to make it look nice, or they want a fire truck or whatever. So I that.
Mhm.
But during COVID, I was working at the newspaper. I worked 3 to midnight, and I was living by myself at that time. My adult children were out of the house. So I've had a lot of time. And of course, we weren't going many places during COVID. We got sent home from the newspaper I was working at. And I found a wonderful girl named Erin Jean McDowell. And she was in New York City at the time, but she was from Kansas, which is where my family is from. And she had a wonderful YouTube show. So I started watching her show, and she had published a book that was on the New York Times bestseller list, book on pie. So I started with pie, and I'd always made pies, but again, they were kind of ugly, homely looking. So I wanted to perfect the pie crust, which is very and this the look of the pie. So that's what I started with, and then she also had another book called The Fearless Baker, which was expanded into cakes, other desserts. I worked on that for a while. I did a lot of cakes that were 3 layers, so they were bigger, and of course, that.
I think we
Am
lost
I
you.
back?
Uh we can hear you but we can't see you. We'll give her a minute and oh, there we go.
Sorry, am I?
You're back now.
Okay.
We're good.
Okay, so cake didn't have a lot of elaborate decorations, delicious fillings that were different frostings, and so that was what I worked on next. And of course, it was COVID time, and I was living alone, so I did not want pies and cakes in my house for me to eat all of. So I would take slices to my friends, leave them on the porch, or we'd get together with our mask, and I would give everyone cake or pie. So that was really able to get feedback and have some place to put
Mhm.
those. But then, and I don't remember how, but I discovered these cupcake artists. Most of them are in Great Britain, which I always
Okay.
loved British TV. British. I mean, I was reading Agatha Christie when I was a little kid, and things are different. They talk different. They use different ingredients. So there's kind of a challenge there. But that's where I learned to do the flowers. I had never even really. I mean, everybody's seen the grocery store cake with a blue rose on it, or red roses, and then the kids are
Mhm.
fighting. I want the piece of rose. I want the piece with the rose. But these were something I had never seen before. So if you want, I'll go ahead and show you a bouquet that I made to kind of help people understand
Oh
what I'm
yeah.
talking about. Okay,
Yeah, sure.
so
Yeah,
I
let's
packed
see it.
them in a bakery box. You'll be able to see it.
And for our listening only audience, Emily and I will be describing them along with Heidi so that you can also get this same effect. We've also added a buttercream smell to this episode, so inhale frequently.
That would be kind of neat if
Okay,
we could do that.
so I don't know
Oh
how well.
wow.
Oh, okay.
So I
It's
got
like
roses and dahlias, and then just a kind of a daisy frilly flower that I made up.
it's like you're holding a box full of flowers. It really is. Like you're like you just brought that from the florist. It's really
Thank
amazing.
you. Thank
So
you.
there's a mix of
So
some yellow roses, I am not a great botanist, so please help me out and
Why
identify some
not?
of these
Why not,
flowers.
Trey?
I'm sorry.
Well, the cupcake artist that I learned this from called it a folded dahlia because the petals are kind of folded on the outside, but there are lots of different variations. So that's what that is. And these are, they're just little frilly flowers. These little kind
I'm
of,
gonna do
they
that.
look sort of like pansies. And pansies do come in all different colors. Mostly we see them in the yellow and purple.
Okay. That's really amazing. That must, I mean, I feel like that would make someone maybe think twice before just chowing down on one of these cupcakes. Do you
It
get
is
that kind of
very common.
commentary? Yeah.
Yeah, people say they're too pretty to eat. I just, well, eat it and then you can order some more.
That's a good one. Good sales. Also, like,
Yeah.
life is short. You should be able to eat the beautiful cupcake.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, they do
Yeah.
last as long as a real bouquet or maybe a little longer, but they're not going to last forever. So you have to eat them. So,
Yeah, just
yeah.
do it. That's better than throwing it away. You might as well have the whole experience.
Right.
Yeah. Trey's eyes got big. Yes.
I do also have to ask, as somebody who's making the cupcakes and enjoyed cupcakes before, this is a very strange question, but do you typically eat the cupcake like with the cake on the bottom, the frosting on top, or do you cut it in half and make it into a sandwich?
Oh, I've seen that. I think it was Anne Hathaway that did that on one of the
Yeah,
comedy shows. I've never done it.
Mm-hmm.
recently. Yeah.
Hmm. I put it on a plate. I get a fork and I eat it like a piece of cake. Now, look,
Okay.
just pick it up and but here's one that it's another form of dahlia, and you've got a lot of. It's just messy for me to eat like that, so that's why I use a fork. To me, it enhances the experience and you can control the ratio of cake to buttercream that you're eating easier. It just
Hmm.
kind of depends on what mood you're in, how you're going to eat that cupcake.
Yeah, I feel like when you have a big mound of icing or frosting on the top, the fork method is preferred because otherwise you can end up with icing like up your nose. And that's not the experience most of us want when we're eating a cupcake.
Yeah, it depends on what company you're into. Are you trying to be delicate and
Right.
tidy?
Right. And how have you been raised? This will tell.
Yeah.
Hello, parents at a meeting for the first time of my significant other. Here, let me just shove this whole thing in my face.
Yeah.
One thing that I'm curious about when it comes to your designs, because we talked just a moment ago about how something can be eaten, and you should partake of that. One thing we talk about a lot in this podcast is the definition of success changes from artist to artist. So with cupcakes that can disappear quite quickly, how do you define that success for a piece that will literally disappear once it's eaten?
For me, success is again, it's the experience, and I feel like to me it's almost better to hear people say it tasted good because people a lot of times their feedback is about what they look like, but I want to know, does it taste good? And so I say, oh, it was really pretty and it tasted good. So to me, that is what I am aiming for. These are not
Yeah.
run of the mill cupcakes. These are not cheap. They're kind of a luxury item, to have an elegant dessert at your party, on a dessert table. So, they're for special occasions. And so to me, that makes them the taste and the look both very important. And also the fact that they are extremely high in calories. You're not going to get these every week.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah. It's a special treat. Yeah.
Right. Calories,
It is.
schmalories. We're eating the cupcake.
I mean, but it really sounds like you are creating an experience. So it's not So from the design to the taste, every bit of it is going to be part of that experience.
Yeah, and that's what I didn't appreciate a lot when I first decided to make this. I call it my side hustle. I have a full-time job. I'm a writer for a university, but this is my side hustle. I knew that I would mark to interest people in buying them celebrations. But then to hear someone say that they bought these for, I need this to get to my, actually had a woman bought a cake for her husband for his birthday. I think she was having a party. I'm not sure. But a woman ordered from me when she and her husband were celebrating adopting a little girl, and the adoption was final. And so it's really fun to think about people having my products, what I'm creating, as a part of a special family time. And one of my funniest stories I love are a really close friend of mine ordered some for his mother's birthday, and she's an elderly lady, and they his wife took the box over to his mother's house. There's some other family members there, but it wasn't the time of the party or celebration. So the wife gives them to his mother, and this was described to me later. His mother opens the box, looks at them, puts the box lid back on, turns around and takes them in the kitchen and hid them and did not share with anybody. So I thought, this is a great marketing thing. I've got to like, get your own box, be my marketing slogan.
That sounds like a good one. Get your own box.
Yeah.
I'm not sharing. I'm not sharing.
And she actually has become a regular customer. She has a card game every Friday afternoon, and she's ordered from me 3 times. I have cupcakes for her card players that afternoon. So
That's awesome.
she orders 8 at a time. So I guess everybody gets to eat one there and take one home. I'm not sure, but that's really fun for me. Is just to think about where they're going, and that people are having fun, and it's enhancing their celebrations.
Yeah, that is awesome. It's one of those things too. Like I was, I'm trying to remember the name of the movie. It's from like the 90s. It's got Christian Slater in it. And has a flower shop, and he delivers the flowers. And he says the reason why he owns the shop, but he's still the person to deliver the flowers, is because everybody who receives flowers is happy. Like you don't get a lot of people who receive this that are unhappy, and that makes his job happy for him. And I thought, I wonder if you're in a similar position.
Oh, absolutely. And, some people I don't know. Most of my customers so far have been people I know, family and friends and coworkers. And I just started this selling in January. But, I've asked people to write a review for me on my Google profile page. But a few people have sent me pictures of their displays at their parties, or someone else taking a picture of a cupcake. And no one sent me any pictures of someone eating one yet. So I'm going to start asking people to send me pictures
That's
of
a good
people
one.
eating. Yeah.
Dive in. Oh, the movie's called Bed of Roses. It's such a good. Sorry, you looked it up, didn't you, Trey?
I did. Darn.
Yeah.
I've never seen it though. I take it it's good.
Yeah, it's Christian Slater and Mary Stuart Masterson, and
Nice.
I'm sure it's a little dated, being from the 90s, but the idea behind it isn't. It's kind of a romantic comedy, I believe. It's romantic, at least, as
Also,
flowers go.
Christian Slater was hot. Anyway. Anyway,
Welcome to Modern Romantic After Dark.
look, I'm just gonna call it like I see it, okay?
Hey, I'm not arguing with you. I'm just, Anyway, so we have a guest to think about here. We had a guest last week that who is an author and a book coach, Lisa Kavala, sorry. And she said we asked her to come up with a question for you, and so I'd like to ask it. And it is, how do you decide the designs that are going on your cupcakes? And it's a two-part question. And have you considered
Okay.
making Scandinavian flowers as one of your designs?
Well, okay, for the first part, as I was learning, I was either buying tutorials, video tutorials to learn flowers, or there's free content out there. These cupcake artists
Okay.
will do demos on YouTube and their Instagram pages. So I was learning what they were teaching, and it was a lot of the basics: roses, tulips, daisies, sunflowers. The things
Mhm.
that you're going to find in gardens here and in the UK. But when I started my business, I of as many of the different flowers that I created, and I put them on my website, and it's all custom. You tell me what you want, and I've actually been surprised the number of people who just say, "Oh, well, just do what you want. Me, just give me what you like to make." I did daffodils this spring; they were pretty popular. So I want people. Some people pick their favorite flower, their favorite color. Valentine's Day, I have a lot of pink and red and white roses. Um,
Sure.
for what was I going to say? Oh, Kentucky Derby is coming up, and the
Yeah.
customer ordered some for the Kentucky Derby, and apparently the red rose is the flower of the Kentucky Derby. I read that the winning horse is draped with a garland of roses that weighs 4 pounds.
Mhm.
So I'm going to
Oh,
do
Oh,
that's
red rose
heavier than I
for her.
thought.
Yeah. And I
Wow.
asked her, I said, "Are you going to serve mint juleps? Maybe we could do a chocolate mint cupcake." And I need to practice
Oh.
that to make sure I get the exact right amount, because if you overpower it, it's going to taste like toothpaste. So,
Oh, yeah.
and I've had people ask me for things that I haven't made. Like I haven't
Okay.
practiced peonies very much. Peonies are a huge mound of frosting. Like a rose has a lot, but a peony, all the leaves are closed. It's a closed
Mhm.
bud usually. Well, you can do
mhm.
them open too, but anyway, there is so much frosting on peonies that I kind of lean toward ones with less frosting. But anyway, so I do let the customers tell me what they want, and I try to provide a big variety. When I was setting up my website, one lady said, "Oh, well, you need to put a color wheel so people colors." And
Oh.
I thought that for 5 seconds, and I said, "No, there's no way I can exact colors. It's got to be
Mm.
my interpretation, and it's going to be different every time. The shades, the flowers, the bouquets are going to look different every time. I mean, maybe once you get good, you can crank them out in a way that they look real similar, but that's not happened for me yet." And
Right.
as far as
Yeah,
Scandinavian, I'm sorry, go ahead.
oh, no. Go ahead.
Well, as far as
You started to say
Scandinavian, I think
Scandinavian. Yeah.
that would be a great idea. Now, I'd need to have a customer base that wanted Scandinavian
Right.
flowers before I spent a lot of time learning it. So, here in Arkansas, that's where I am. Like I said, the daffodils, those are poking up practically in January around here. So, those were real popular. And just flowers are very nostalgic for people. Mother is an excellent gardener, and her yard, irises, which actually I haven't done an iris because they're very vertical. So they're
Mm.
I haven't seen a tutorial on it, but I haven't tried it yet. Roses, peonies, honeysuckle, just the gamut of flowers in her yard, and people just, I mean, they see a peony bush and it reminds them of their grandmother. So it's just really fun to try to give people what they want.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm hearing from that is you're consulting people to ultimately get what they want, but you're also setting the boundaries and where you know that you're where you want to go and letting them know and setting those expectations. Like for me as an artist, I am such a recovering people pleaser that I am trying to deliver what they're asking for. And sometimes I go beyond that boundary. But it sounds like you know where that boundary exists and you're letting them know that up front. And so I commend you for that greatly.
Well, thank you. I mean, I feel like my boundaries right now are the fact that I need to practice a lot more. So I do not want to create flowers for someone that I don't feel are good enough. They're all going to look like they're handmade because they are.
Hmm.
But yeah, actually, what I thought would happen and really hasn't yet is no one's asked me for cartoons on top of cakes, because you see that on TV a lot, or the Is It Cake shows, the reality shows, and
Right.
no one's asked me to do any Disney princesses or those are more on cakes than cupcakes anyway, and no one's asked me to do a cake. So I feel like I've my marketing so far has been pretty good as far as this is what I do. And even when I was
Yeah.
thinking of a name for my business, some people were saying, well, you're going to limit yourself by saying cupcake and garden. But I said, that's okay. That is what I want. And may change my mind eventually, and then I'll have to face that issue. But I really wanted to hone on this is exactly what I do. If you'd like something else, I'm sorry, but I can't help you. This is what I do. So it's I didn't even really think of myself as an artist. I was starting to about the time that I received this invitation, and I love that because it is absolutely a creative outlet for me. Um, Getting better on making the colors look realistic and not really bright and garish. Um, that takes practice, and I
Yeah.
don't have any formal training in art, so it's been really fun for me.
It's something that I was going to say earlier that it really is kind of a temporary art. People eat it so it's gone, but it is an art. It's something that we appreciate as art. If you were making them out of clay or anything else, it would still be art. So why not something people can enjoy for special occasions and things like
Yeah,
that? And you're going to get more repeat customers that way too.
exactly.
you know,
Yeah, it's appreciable art.
mhm. And Trey and speaking back to the color matching thing, Trey and I used to be in an industry where color matching was a common everyday thing, and it's one thing we learned as well. Like if you have somebody has the ability to, here I'm gonna use David Stevens' pencil puppet as an example. If someone went, okay, I want it to be exactly this shade of pink, and look really close at this shade of pink on the screen it might look like a different shade of pink than on the phone or on something else, and you get into like a dangerous territory there where it looks different to different people. It might be the lighting, you don't know what people are seeing that color in. So um, I commend you on that decision on not having a color wheel on your site, because I feel like um, that's something that would get you into some trouble with the people who want like an exact color match. So
Absolutely.
great
And
job
even
there.
the flower species are sometimes kind of scary. I think I make someone thinks it's a hyacinth, or those aren't
Oh,
that close. But people will say, "I love this flower," and that's not what I was making.
right.
But as long as I've been afraid I'm going to run into someone who's a great stickler and say, "You can't, your petals shouldn't look like this on this particular flower." But I think that person is pretty rare. Most people are just,
Mhm.
"Oh yeah, I love to look at this," and then I'm going to eat it. So and take pictures of
They're
it, and yeah,
yeah. They're beautiful regardless, the cupcakes, so who could complain? And I could see like there's some similarities with like a ranunculus and a rose or something like that, where you have two very similar looking flowers from whatever angle or colors. So
yeah.
they but no. No one should be that picky. It's art. You have to
Yeah,
trust the artiste.
yeah.
Kind of going back to something you said earlier, where you want to make sure that it tastes good,
Mhm.
has me very curious about flavor combinations. Is there a particular flavor combination that you wish people would request more?
No, right now I am only doing vanilla and chocolate cake. Now, later
Okay.
may expand on that, but I'm doing those two flavors, and I'm only doing American buttercream, which is typically flavored with vanilla. Now you can't, like I mentioned with the mint julep cupcakes, we could put a little bit of peppermint extract in the frosting too, as well as the cake. But I have not branched out into that area you're talking about. That is another level of sophistication that I feel like I need to kind of master each part of this. And will I ever master the flowers? I don't know, but no one has. One person asked for red velvet, and I did make red velvet for them. I don't even understand red velvet cake. It's got cocoa in it, but it doesn't taste like chocolate, so I don't understand the point of it. But
I'm with you. Yep. I've made it from scratch before, and it is a bizarre recipe.
yeah, I've made it several times, and I've always been disappointed. Although it traditionally has cream cheese frosting, which I love, but when you're making the flowers, people do use other. There's several types of buttercream, and people use others. I only use American. It is just so perfect, as long as your method is correct, and it's all comes down to the consistency, which is actually the temperature. So if you have it stored in your fridge and you take it out, you can put it in the microwave for a few seconds. Literally, sometimes 5 or 6 seconds will get it to the perfect consistency. You go 10 seconds, it's too far. You got to put it back. So, and it depends on what flower you're doing. Roses, you need pretty stiff, meaning cooler frosting. Leaves, you need pretty soft, meaning warmer. And you the tutorials will tell you that, but you have to learn a lot on your own through trial and error. And so back to your question, Trey, I feel like there's still so I want to learn about flowers that I don't want to branch out in different flavors. Because even with just chocolate and vanilla, I have tweaked recipes. I've tried so many different recipes. I use ChatGPT a lot, kind of work on recipes, because you want a little bit of a dome. Like this one is about perfect. I don't know if you can see it. Just has a little. Actually, it's a little bit. The dome is higher on one side than the other.
Oh, but it's hard to tell, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah, but it's fairly flat also. So most flowers work best on a flat surface. A hydrangea, you want a little bit of a mound. So either you bake your cupcakes to have a higher dome naturally, or you put more frosting. So there's a lot of frosting on a hydrangea if you build it up. So yeah, I have not branched out into variety of flavors yet. Now that doesn't eventually, but for now we're just going chocolate and vanilla.
Keep it simple. Yeah.
Can't go wrong with chocolate and vanilla.
Do you find yourself getting sick of like eating cupcakes then? Is it like old for you?
No, and that's
wonderful
because I have put on weight and my cholesterol is high.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
So yeah, it is a, what do you call it? I can't think of the word, but occupational hazard. Yeah. It is definitely an occupational hazard because you got to test things. You got to make sure that the texture is right, the taste is right, all of that. So yeah, and that's one reason I've been baking my whole life. I want to eat it. So yeah.
I mean, I can't blame you.
For Christmas one year, when I was working in a call center, I said, okay, well, I'm going to treat everybody and I'm going to make double dark chocolate cupcakes with peppermint buttercream frosting. I had never made buttercream frosting before in my entire life. I was in for a whirlwind of many things. Was it realistically challenging? I mean, for first time, yeah, but the end result was like this minty, just smooth texture to it. Oh, it was so good. Highly recommend go search for a peppermint where you crush up peppermint candies. I'm currently making a motion like I'm rolling a rolling pin across peppermints. For those who cannot see my
Oh, is that
upward
what
motions.
you're doing?
Yeah, sorry.
I was like, I don't know. This
I'm
is
on
a
a
new
row
dance.
machine. Peppermint. But no, highly recommend it. So truly commend you for your work with buttercream. It is astonishing.
Well,
Uh,
I really like a challenge, and you can find so many different recipes for American buttercream alone. But I feel
mhm.
like that actually I found what the perfect recipe for me and technique pretty early on. So that helped me. And I don't know if basically when you make for flowers, you want to beat it as little as possible because you don't want air bubbles because air
Oh,
bubbles make holes in your petals. So people on I'm a member of a bunch of different Facebook pages for bakers and decorators, and they'll say, "Oh, beat your butter for 10 minutes." I'm like, "No, I can put a recipe of buttercream together and really with about 4 minutes of beating time total." And so that's been really fun to me to see all the different ways people are trying things. I haven't tried, you can do Swiss meringue buttercream, Italian buttercream. I haven't tried any of those. So there's still, that's what one thing I love about it. There's still so much to learn and try and just see what people think.
right.
I didn't even realize there were so many different versions of buttercream.
Yeah, that's the first time I've
Yeah,
heard the
there's
word.
French.
Oh, French and Russian too. Yeah, I've never heard of just
Yeah,
American buttercream. It's always just buttercream. Huh.
it's the one most people are familiar with, and it is very sweet. And so the ingredients are just butter and powdered sugar. It's 2 to 1 powdered sugar to butter, and then you add a little bit of vanilla. I usually put two teaspoons in with 500 grams of butter, 1,000 grams, 1 kilogram, doing my math right, of powdered sugar. And some people use salted butter because they go, oh, that'll help cut the sweetness. Well, not very much because it's just butter and sugar, but people do experiment with that. But it's sweet. There's really nothing you can do to create the consistency you need and have a less sweet buttercream. And that's why I say, it's a special treat, it's a luxury. Don't do like I do and eat one every day.
um,
I mean, for your business though, maybe people should order a cupcake from Heidi every single day.
Well, I only sell them half dozen is the smallest amount I can sell. So I don't have the volume
Okay.
yet to do singles. Yeah.
That'll get you through a week if you take a day off. I mean, I'm trying to help. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's perfect.
But I get it. I do. I mean, it's probably good we're not in the cupcake industry or any other food industry, Trey.
oh, we wouldn't sell anything. I would have eaten it all. Oh,
Like, stop eating it all, Trey.
no. So Heidi, whenever you're starting a new design, do you think of it? Do you think of yourself as a baker, a sculptor, or a storyteller?
Ooh, good question.
Um, the word that comes to my mind is a decorator because that kind of
Mm.
encompasses the baking part. I have to have something to decorate, so I've baked it. And sculpting is closer than storytelling is more. That to me, that would indicate that I sit down and have a 20-minute conversation with my customer. Usually, that's not what I do. I just say, "What would you like?" Here's the main things that I do. So I would sculptor or a decorator because what you have is these tips that you put into your piping bag, and I don't know if you can see this has an open. This is a closed bar tip, and then this is a thin petal tip. You probably can't see those, but basically this is your sculpting tool. You're using this to mold how, like, these are used for rose because you want the thin crisp petals, and then
Sure.
the leaf tip, they call it a bird's beak. It's kind of like this, and the leaves come
Right.
out. These don't have leaves, this one does. The leaves come out kind of on an angle from your tip there. And so sculpting shapes, if you get the shape off, you know it right away. And then you have to decide, do I scrape this off and start over? Or it's
Right.
also very forgiving as a medium. I've never really worked with clay, maybe once or twice. I feel like maybe it's similar to that. You can mold it a certain way, and then you can, like, especially with a rose, if the petal that's the third one is a little bit weird looking, it doesn't put on row after row of petals.
Right.
So you want your outer petals and top of your petals to look the best. And also you're going to look at this. So you're not even really concerned about what it looks like below. But
Right.
you do want it to look neat. So yeah, you have your sculpting tools, and I think the consistency of your buttercream is an important tool in order to get the results that you want.
There's a question that's percolating, and I don't yet have it fully formed just yet. But one, I've only been accustomed to just a very few of those decorating tips that you're talking
Mm.
about. Like in a set of tips that I might get from a local grocery store or from like a local even craft store, it's typically like the fine 4 or 5 that you might get. I didn't realize that there were so many, or
Oh,
that there was such sophistication involved.
yeah, and that goes to size. If you want to do the mini roses, you don't want huge tip that you used for the yellow rose. So it's smaller. You could make a small tall rose, but yeah, it goes to size. You can make mini peonies on a cupcake. You can put like 3 peonies on a cupcake. Well, you need a smaller tip, and that's a curved. There's also different shapes of petal tips. You have the straight, and then you have the curved, and all of them are wider at the bottom than they are at the top, and that's what makes the petals shape just like a real flower is kind of thicker at the bottom and then thinner at the top. But
Hmm.
there are many tips. There are 3 main companies, and they play really pretty well together as far as matching the numbers, and even just you can kind of tell this is their petal grouping. And there are Russian nozzles, which um,
It's a whole different world.
Uh-huh. I feel like my
guys
baking
came
game is
from.
about to elevate.
They don't have any numbers on them. They just have these different um, designs, and these are what the tulips are generally made of. And I don't have any tulips in this batch, but it comes out, and it's very hard. You really have to practice. You have to get your buttercream consistency perfect. It needs to be a little bit stiff, for all of these to come out all the little holes, and then to when you pull, stop squeezing for it to stay on your cupcake.
Yeah.
But there are these, and they are really fun. There's big ones, and then there are smaller ones, and
Can
and
you
they're actually very fast.
can you hold one right up to the camera so I can see it a little clearer? Okay. So it's like a lot of little holes and like slits, I guess, for lack of a
Yeah,
better term,
it,
that would
right. It's
force the
geometric
frosting
patterns. Like,
through.
this one is swirls.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Kind
Okay.
of rose like. Yeah. Interesting.
But see, so these
That's
are
really
much quicker.
fascinating.
All you do is squeeze it out, and there's your flower. Whereas the rose tip, you're doing 20
The work.
squeezes to make 20
Yeah.
petals, individual petal, and these are much faster. But to me, they're less true as flowers than the ones where you make individual petals. But mostly
Sure.
people use tulips because they kind of have an outside. You know how tulips have the the
It's like
petals
a
on the outside have little
curve. Yeah.
stems up in the middle. Yeah, so they do that really well.
Neat.
That's really neat. Okay.
Very cool. So we have just a few minutes left. I want to make sure our audience knows how to find you. You are on Instagram at cupcake.garden.by.by.hs. And then you have a website
Yeah.
for ordering online, which is mycustombakes.com/cupcake garden for anybody who wants to place an order. It's Northwest Arkansas. So if you are in
Right.
California, probably don't order unless it's a straight up donation. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm
These
sure
things
Heidi
are
would be
hard
happy to eat the
5 miles.
cupcakes for you. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
These
And
are very hard to train, and they're pretty fragile. So yeah, you're not shipping them.
yeah, don't make Heidi try to figure that out. And but if you're traveling to Northwest Arkansas or in the Northwest Arkansas area, please go
Yeah.
order or
Yeah.
just go follow Heidi on Instagram and show her your support for her. You know, you likes and comments are free, and she's beautiful work also on her Instagram. You can go see those pictures; they're amazing.
Thank you.
Um, Of course, next week we have our guest is Rachel Gelfeld, Gelfeld. She is a stunt woman, a producer, and an actress. And the reason I bring her up is because Heidi, I was going to ask you if you had any ideas for a question that we should be asking Rachel next week
A
to
stunt
put you on the
woman.
spot.
Wow. I'd want to know
Yeah.
where her worst bruise was.
All right, we'll
Ooh,
ask her that one. Where I'll write this down.
okay.
Yeah. I've always been pretty athletic,
Worst.
so that would interest me.
Where's your worst bruise? Or was? I would assume was. Let's assume
Yeah.
she doesn't
Hopefully they go
currently
away.
have her worst bruise.
She shows up in like a full body cast.
I want to do this interview anyway. I want to do this show. That would be amazing. We haven't had anybody quite that laid up do the show before. That's good. We don't we want people to feel their best.
Seriously. Well, Heidi, before I ask my last question to you, I want to say I love your perspective and I love that you know where you are in your artist journey. And I say journey because you've mentioned that you're still growing, you're still learning, you are still actively seeking out to improve your skill set. So I admire that as an artist to know where you are and still see like a very clear path ahead of you. And you're not fearful of it.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I'm at an age now where, like I said, I love a challenge. I'm really not scared to try something and fail. I am a marathon runner. I'm not running marathons right
Wow.
now. And I needed a new challenge. And this is very different, but there's still learning. We didn't even get into, which is fine, the business side of it. I have never run a business.
Sure.
I've never worked retail or wholesale business at all. So, and it varies by every state has different laws on what you can sell and how you operate. So it's been fun too.
Especially for food. There's that whole other layer of that where it's not just a product, it's a product that can, you know, expire and things can happen. So that's a whole
Yeah.
nother layer
You,
that I'm sure was interesting to learn.
yeah, just one quick example is we can't sell cream cheese frosting in Arkansas because it can't sit out of the fridge, whereas buttercream can sit out of the fridge for a brief time, a couple days. It's obviously not gonna last, weeks, but that's how they determine is can something be shelf stable for a limited
Sure.
time. So, yeah.
Fascinating.
Heidi, my last question for you, which has nothing to do with anything we've talked about so far, and that is if you were to be able to sit down with anybody in the world, alive or dead, who would be sitting on the opposite side of that table from you?
President Obama.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
I
I'm curious why.
greatly admire him, all the work that he did, all that he is continuing to accomplish. In fact, for my birthday in July, I am going to the Obama President Center in Chicago. It's opening on Juneteenth, but my birthday is in July, so I'm going to go the next month. But I just feel like, regardless of sitting down with him, just going to that center and the museum and spending time there, I feel like it's going to renew my hope in these very difficult times. And I'm so looking forward to that because I really admire him. It was a different time, that was just so much joy. Just, I don't know if you follow Pete Souza, the former West photographer on social media, the pictures that
Oh,
he
I
has,
do. Yes. Yeah,
that
fabulous
you
pictures.
smile and you feel good, and compare it to what we've got now. It's just hard, really hard. So that's who I would choose. Can you make that happen?
Well, let me call Michelle, and we'll see
He
what
can
we can
come
do.
too. Yeah,
Okay, we'll see what
she's a
we can do.
podcaster.
She is.
Right.
Oh God, if you could imagine if I could pick up the phone right now and call Michelle Obama, like, "Hi, Michelle, I have a favor to ask."
Well, we were for a while calling Kamala whether or not she knew we were calling her. Those were fun times. We didn't, we weren't really expecting anything, but it was fun.
No, but it's so fun.
Yeah.
I might have a cease and desist letter.
Hopefully it's signed by her.
This is the closest you'll ever get to Kamala Harris. Thank you. But no, what a great answer, Heidi. Thank you so much. And again, thank you so much for being on the show. Please go order one of Heidi's cupcakes. If you're in the Arkansas area, please stop by and order them. Please support her. You can also support us at the Modern Romantic Podcast. You can find past episodes at themodrom.com or wherever you find your podcast episodes. We also have a Patreon. If you would like to support us there, we would love you forever. And if you would like behind the scenes content that you won't see anywhere else, you can search for The Mod Rom on Patreon. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. We couldn't do the show without you. Thank you.